I'm Adam, and today I'll be your host as we take a look at refurbishing this chair. I will be showing you step by step how to refurbish it into something that can be used in any home. With that being said, let's get started. Supplies needed for this project: staple gun and staples, sandpaper, spray paint, drill, polyurethane, dish soap and sponge, hammer, screwdriver, scissors, and gloves. I'm going to be starting this project by taking the chair apart. Using a drill or screwdriver, remove the two screws holding the seat back in place. Once the screws are removed, pull up on the seat back to remove from frame. Set the seat back aside along with the screws, as we will get back to it later. Be sure not to lose the screws. Turning the chair over, I'm going to remove the 4 screws holding the seat bottom in place. Once I have the screws removed, I'll make sure the seat bottom doesn't fall when I remove the frame. I'm going to put these screws aside as well with the others I have already removed. At this point, I'm going to start working on the seat bottom. This seat bottom consists of a plywood base, foam cushioning, fabric cover, and welting. The fabric cover and welting are tightly stapled to the plywood. I'll be removing these staples with a screwdriver and needle nose pliers, and will eventually discard the old fabric, as I will no longer need it. The welting can be thrown away at this time. I'm going to hold on to the old fabric cover for now, as I'll need it in a little bit for an outline for the new cover. The foam cushion is glued to the plywood base, so I'm going to set them to the side, and I will come back to them later as well. So now I'm going to use a sponge to wash the chair frame with mild dish soap and water. You can use a sponge or wash rag, it's your choice. You may need to use a scrub pad to remove any old caked on grime. Make sure the entire frame is clean. When finished, I'm going to let it completely air dry. Now remember that old fabric cover that I needed to temporarily hold on to? I'm going to set the old fabric cover on top of the new fabric, pressing it out flat as I trace an outline of the old cover onto the new fabric. No longer needing this old cover, I'm going to remove it and throw it away. Now let's cut out that new cover I just outlined. Starting on the front edge, I'm going to pull the fabric edge over the cushion and base, and then staple the edge down. I'll be doing this to the full front edge, moving around the seat, doing one edge at a time, including the corners. On each side, I want to pull the fabric tight, but not too tight, that the design and fabric will no longer be aligned with the chair. If there is excess fabric, just remove it with a pair of scissors. Let's get back to the chair frame. I'll be putting on my gloves, and after grabbing a file, I will search the entire frame for any nicks and or rust spots. File away any and all rust that you see, and if you see any nicks in the frame, try to file them out. Be sure to do the bottom facing pieces of the frame as well. Once I am done filing and there is no more marks or rust, I want to give the frame another washing to remove any metal shavings and dust. Let it completely air dry. While the frame is drying, let's start working on the seat back. We want to completely sand the seat back down to bare wood, using a rougher grit sandpaper, 60 grit, to get any old varnish off, and then a smoother grit sandpaper, 150 grit, to smooth the wood out. When you're done sanding, wipe the seat back off with a damp sponge to remove any excess dust. At this point in the project, it's time to get back to the chair frame. Put down some type of protective cover to avoid getting the spray paint on anything besides the chair. Spray paint the frame in even strokes about a foot away from the frame to avoid any runs. Spray paint every corner, including the bottom facing pieces. Let it dry and repeat. Depending on how it looks, it will take 2 to 3 coats of paint. While the chair frame is drying, I'm going to get back to the seat back. Grab a brush along with the polyurethane and start brushing it onto the seat back, starting with one side only and all edges. Set on the side not touched yet and let it dry. Once dry to the touch and I know it won't mess up, I will brush the polyurethane onto the other side and set to dry. I will give the seat back 2 coats of polyurethane and let completely dry. The chair frame should be dry now and ready for the seat bottom to be attached. Set the seat cushion close to the edge of the table, get the frame and turn it upside down and set it on the seat bottom. After aligning frame on the seat cushion, I will screw the seat bottom to the frame using the original screws I set aside earlier. Make sure the seat bottom is attached to the frame straight and even. Once attached, turn the chair right side up. The seat back should be dry by now, so I'm going to attach it to the chair frame. Slide it into the guide rails on the frame, and using the 2 screws I set aside earlier, I will screw the seat back into place, making sure it is straight and even. Adding new floor protectors to the feet is optional. The chair is now complete.